Howdy doody everybody, I hope you're doing great. In today's video we're talking about Lost Ark and this really cool game mode that I experienced for the first time yesterday called Guardian Raids, which is basically their take on Monster Hunter in an MMO ARPG, and it was one of the coolest things that I've played in games in a while that wasn't necessarily Monster Hunter. So let's get into it and make sure that you guys are aware of it, because I feel like even if you're not a Monster Hunter fan, you can appreciate this, and if you are a Monster Hunter fan, you kind of want to know about this even if you're not necessarily going to play Lost Ark, because it's a cool thing to just know about and just have in your Monster Hunter knowledge base essentially. So if that sounds cool to you, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. So Guardian Raids, before you even get into them, there's this really cool way of signing up, and you're gonna know this because if you're a Monster Hunter player, you go to the quest board. You simply go to the quest board, and on the Guardian Raid board you can see a bunch of Guardian Raids that you can go into. I think there's about 8 to 10 different Guardian Raid monsters that you can go into, all with different levels of item level requirements, item level being how strong you are in the game currently based on your gear that you wear. So different monsters require different levels because they're stronger or harder. Think of them as your HR rank or your guild rank essentially as you go into a Monster Hunter hunt. But the really cool thing about this board is that it has a load of different monsters on it that definitely look like they've been ripped out of Monster Hunter. There's wyverns and like dragons and stuff like that. There's bears, there's all these different creatures that you know could just be plopped into a Monster Hunter game and we'd be directly at home with it. So that was like the really cool thing. And the names as well, some of the names definitely look like they've been ripped from Monster Hunter. So that was the first thing that really got me excited about this before I even stepped in. But I was thinking when I stepped into the actual game mode that it was going to essentially just be, oh, we just go in there and hunt a monster. But it's not just that. They've actually taken the core elements of Monster Hunter and plopped them into this. So things like you don't get limited respawns, so you've only got 3 respawns that represent like your 3 carts in Monster Hunter. You get your you get limited items, so you only have limited healing items, so what you take out with you on your hunts, like in Monster Hunter, getting prepared, having all of that stuff is there as well, which is really cool. And once you're in the hunt, you've got a timer as well, so you have your hunt timer just like you do in Monster Hunter, which is also a cool thing. So this is just from there a core bit of Monster Hunter is already in there for us to kind of experience. But once you load it to the map, you don't know where the monster is, just like in old school Monster Hunter. If you've been playing new World, or if you've been playing Rise, then you might not necessarily be akin to this, because monsters just appear on the map nowadays. Like if you've known them or if you've seen them on the map, there will be a question mark, so you kind of know where the monster locations are. But in old school Monster Hunter, nobody knew where the monsters were. In this, it's basically the same thing, unless you use an item called a flare, which kind of works in the same way as Psycho Serum or waving at the person in a hot air balloon in the old games. If you're a veteran and you know about that, then let me know. In old school Monster Hunter games, once you located the monster, which is in like a part of the map, you go there and you get on your fight. You start fighting the monster, and the monster definitely has like that kind of AI system that they have in Monster Hunter as well, where it's doing attacks, it's got its different patterns, and as you go up and you fight different item level monsters, they have more mechanics. But for the one that I was fighting yesterday, it looked like Azeroth, kind of performed like Azeroth, big swiping moves, attacking, charging, doing all of that stuff. It didn't try to back up on me like Azeroth does, but at the end of the day, there was loads of different stuff that was there that was really cool, and in the mechanic states that really represented how the monster needed to move to kind of really give a valid fight that I was going to be excited about. And I think one of the things that really excited me about it was just the fact that you could kind of basically KO the monster and knock it out just like you do in Monster Hunter as well. So every time we're doing our attacks, the combat system in Lost Ark is already enjoyable anyway. So we're doing all of this stuff and we're fighting this monster, and as a Monster Hunter fan, I'm just like, yo, this is the coolest thing to do while leveling up and experiencing this in an MMO format. So I was just like, this is really cool as well. And I think the thing that really sold it to me as a Monster Hunter game mode is 2 things. There is no health bar. So every other boss in the game has a huge health bar that you can see represented on the screen. They have health bars that are like times X, so they have like layered health bars that you have to get through, and it's shown on the screen how much damage that you're doing. But just like in Monster Hunter, you're gonna hear me say that a lot, just like in Monster Hunter, this monster does not have a health bar, so you don't know how much damage you're doing to it, but you know that you are doing damage to it of sorts. I don't know if later there's going to be breakable parts, because I haven't experienced every monster in the game yet, but hopefully they have like a monster with breakable parts and you can get different things. But for now, I think it's just the core thing of just hitting the monster. Once you defeated a monster, a little victory sound plays as well, so it's got that kind of end scene that you get in hunts as well, which is pretty cool. I found that like really added to the whole feeling that you were in a hunt as well. And then after the hunt is basically finished and you've finished your Guardian raid, you don't carve the monster essentially, but you do like harvest it, is what they call it, and you get a limited amount of harvests, and those are where you get your gear and a bunch of stuff. It'd be nice if they had the crafting system in there as well for crafting parts out of these monsters. I feel like that would really lend to it and kind of add to the whole core tenet of not just it trying to represent Monster Hunter, but also representing the fact that you can like craft up, and it would be a nice addition to Lost Ark to be able to craft armor pieces from those monsters that you've actually defeated. But I'm generally just excited to jump back into this and see how far we can get with hunting these monsters, and how good they are, and how good the hunts are, and all the different mechanics, because some of the monsters that I've seen in trailers, hella cool. I know that people are going to love them. I know that I love them from just looking at them. And I feel like just this as a repeatable activity that is good to gain gear and get armor is just a really cool thing for endgame. I wish some of Monster Hunter took inspiration from some of the parts of Lost Ark and brought it back, like they've taken inspiration from Monster Hunter and brought it back. But you guys can let me know what you think of all of this, and what if you're going to give the game a go, or if it's just not for you essentially. But in general, I feel like Monster Hunter fans will appreciate that Monster Hunter is a good game, so game devs should take inspiration from it and plop it into other games. Anyway guys, bye bye! Hey guys, thanks for watching. Don't forget you can subscribe so you don't miss another video.